just, okay, perfect. It's working.
All right. And share my screen. And we can get started. All right. Welcome to Retro 2, Management and Financials. All right. I don't think we have any announcements. The only announcement we have right now is that we are going to have graduation at Mutiny on November, I believe it's Tuesday, November, I believe it's 26th, 28th. I don't remember.
I think 28th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tuesday the 28th, but we're going to do it at Mutiny. Megan has graciously said, yes, we can come. And then that gives you guys all an opportunity to go in there if you haven't been already and see what she's been doing. All right. The rules of the retro are the same as they were last time. The mentors and any RMMFI staff will do your evaluations. And then at the end or tomorrow, I will send you guys the results of those so you can see that feedback and hopefully get some good ideas on how to tweak that for your final project. You guys have 6 minutes to go through your slides. We're not probably going to do the breakout rooms at the end as long as our entrepreneur or as long as our mentors and staff. So Carly, Jamie, Matt, if you can make sure to ask questions as we go along and provide, some just a little bit of just feedback within the framework of the retro, then we won't do the breakouts at the end. And then you guys are going to present, and then yeah, that's it. Any questions? Next Monday, we have a launch project review. And Tuesday, we'll talk about goal. Oh, we don't have class Tuesday. That's a mistake. Thursday. Tuesday is Halloween next week. So Thursday, we will talk about goal setting. And then anyone who's interested in joining our next Idea Lab, if you know anybody who's interested in joining our next cohort, we are now actively recruiting. We have a business idea lab, which only a few of you guys went through, which is kind of like, we joke that it's your dating before you commit, is starting the second week in January. So we're starting to take applications now so that we can have that kind of filled before the holiday breaks as much as possible. So if any of you all have friends or that are interested in taking this class, please send them to me.
What was it called again?
The Idea Lab is really designed for, it would have been good for you, Jen, actually, but when you don't have a business, when you're just getting started, really kind of working through some of those, some of the language of business. It goes over marketing, financials, and all of the things that we do, but only one day for each one. It's a short 3-week class, 2-week class, and it just kind of gets you prepped for boot camp.
Okay.
And then boot camp will start in March.
Okay.
The first week in March, I believe. All right. So yeah, boot camp graduation is November 28th. And I guess I talked to Megan after I updated this. So it will be at Mutiny. It will be primarily in person for us since we're all here. But if you can't make it, we also have a virtual option because some of our Denver folks and some people from our organization and a lot of your mentors aren't here, so they can join virtually. And then please invite your family, your mentors, friend, somebody who supports you along this journey. All right. So rules of the retro, you guys have 6 minutes. Be as precise as possible, and then be ready for questions at the end. Is there anything I'm missing, Doug? I just feel like I'm missing something.
No, I think that's everything. Yeah, just if you start to go way over time, I'll put a warning in the chat just for you to be aware. I think that's the only other thing.
Okay. So this one, we are only talking about management and financials. So those of you who are mentors, just know that that is all that we're talking about here. In our first retro, we did marketing and operations. So we're thinking still about big rocks, our launch and ongoing strategy, capital needs, key success indicators, which we talked about last night. And in our group today, we spent some time talking about, and then revenue, cost, profits, cash flows, assumptions, all the spreadsheets that you're so in love with, right? All right, 9 slides, 6 minutes. We're all in a virtual format. So the entrepreneurs will present. I'll control the slides. So once you're kind of done explaining that slide, I usually advance forward, but if I go too fast, tell me to go back or go forward. And then mentors will fill out the electronic scoring forms. Each presentation has its own scoring form. So to make sure you fill out the correct one, and links to the scoring forms will be posted in the chat before each of you go. Okay. And then like last time, I'll send out those feedback forms and let you know your scores. Okay, feedback. For those of you who are mentors, really give really constructive feedback. It should be high level. You know, realize that everybody is in a different place in their businesses. Some people have been working in their businesses for some time. Some people haven't even started them. So be respectful of kind of where they're at in that journey. Not everybody is, you know, fully launched and have been in business for a long time. Okay, you can earn up to 600 towards your loan liability or eligibility. It might be more than that. I'll have to double check that. I feel like that's not the right number.
Something said 800.
Last time it was 800, and this one I'm not sure if it's the same or not. I'll double check that. Anyway, so these are your business teams. This is not the order that you're going in because this is not a normal form, and I can't just slide things up and down. I was having some formatting issues today and I ran out of time. So, but these are everybody who's going, your teams, and then we're going to get started. Is Xander, did he pop in? I didn't notice.
No, not yet.
All right. So we'll skip Xander's for now, and then we'll start with Sean. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi guys, I'm Sean. I own and operate Little Donkey's Food Wagon here in Trinidad. We serve birria style tacos, and we have an emphasis on locally sourced ingredients from Southern Colorado and Northern New Mexico. And I'll try and keep this, we're going to go through a lot of numbers tonight, so I'll just try and keep it pretty swift here. So the next slide, please, Don. So launch strategy, as far as the next stage for me, I would say consistent hours and locations is what I'd like to focus on for the last few weeks that I can operate here. I've been working on expanding my suppliers just to make it a little bit easier for me to not have to scramble every week to try and find my product. And one of the biggest issues I'm facing too is just kind of some outdated legislation here in Trinidad. So I'd really like to continue to network with city planners and local officials to try and get a few things changed, and obviously continue to provide exceptional product and services. Next slide, please. So in the 3 to 4 major growth objectives for my first year, like I just touched on, it'd be really nice to get some things changed before the spring season, because that's when we would get ramped back up. It'd just be really nice to have a clear avenue of what we can accomplish next spring and then into the summer. And as far as like the next 6 months go, just planning ahead and looking at calendars and just really just figuring out all the special events around the surrounding sister counties down here. Hours and location is a huge thing. It's just been really tough to keep consistent. And so that's definitely something that I want to look forward to and continue to grow our return customers. And then, you know, who knows, a year from now, maybe if the right opportunity came along, maybe upgrade to a more brick and mortar situation and be able to expand the menu away from just doing 2 items. Next slide, please. So I would say Google has been pretty amazing for the first 3 or 4 months that we've dropped our pins. Just the number of searches is kind of shocking through Trinidad. I think we've had some pretty great reviews. I think the feedback from people has been that, you know, we've done a good job of staying consistent, which I think is very important, especially when you're only just doing a few menu items. And you know, the spreadsheets are boring, but it's been really helpful to dive into the numbers and really just understand it from that perspective, because, you know, I feel a bit stupid for not doing that from the get-go, but you know, that's why we take these classes and try to learn as much as we can. So next slide, please. I base these numbers off of the best month that we had this season. And so, you know, it's pretty accurate. I would say, you know, we're only doing 2 items. So the mushroom tacos are $10 and the beef tacos are 12. So yeah, pretty simple numbers there. I'd really like to have consistent months with those numbers. I think it would be, it's something that I'm going to really strive for next year. Just sink my teeth into it, because just knowing that we're capable of doing those kinds of numbers. And you know, a lot of this was just working, you know, not even every weekend as well, only a couple days a week. So next slide, please. And again, I just, you know, these are actual numbers from what we're dealing with right now. My food costs are pretty decent. So if I can just keep the sales up high, you know, my cogs are not too bad as well. So I think the fixed costs are going to fluctuate as far as specifically what we're going to do. Losing our commissary potentially next year could be a different scenario as far as rent goes. I think that maybe talking with the city, some of the permits could be a little more expensive if they decide to change things a little bit more in our direction. So but again, not too bad as far as my monthly fixed costs go. I feel pretty good diving into these numbers, and I just kind of look forward to next being able to apply them a little bit better next year and know it. Just you know, knowledge is power. Just knowing what to expect. So next slide, please. Okay, so assumptions. Monthly revenue. Again, this is based off probably the better months that we had. So I need to make sure that I'm selling 100 orders of tacos per month, which, you know, if you break that down, if I'm working 3 days a week, 2 days a week, I mean, that's pretty doable. So being above and beyond that, I mean, well into you know, multiple hundreds is very ideal for me. And it's a lot of tacos when you think about cooking each one on the flat top. It's kind of daunting, but yeah. So next slide, please. So my strategies for my cash flow, I think I'm going to just set aside 15% of my owner's draw that I take, and just put that in just a complete separate business savings account. That way it's just a fail safe for, it's almost be like having a credit card I can fall back on, but it's actually, you know, my own money. And I think I can't remember who suggested the last retro, you know, going to places like Costco and just doing bulk inventory when I can. Yeah, I've ran into a lot of supply issues this year, and I think going into next year and even the rest of this season, just as much stuff as I can have stocked up is just very helpful for all aspects of the operation. And then saving for a potential brick and mortar location at some point, I think is a pretty smart move. And even if that didn't happen, maybe having a second, maybe even having a food cart as well as the food truck to kind of build some more business off of. And me and my partner talked about, it's hard to say yes to every event because it's such a big ordeal for us to go out that we kind of just want to make it worth our time. And so I think having maybe a second tier of a menu that we do for smaller events, so our cost of goods are not as high and it's just not as labor intensive, I think is a pretty good move. So next slide, please. Capital needs, because I've already done everything. I mean, these are just the numbers that I just plugged in from how much it cost me to build the wagon. It was just all personal investment. Pretty easy numbers there. Pretty straightforward. So yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, that's it, guys. I appreciate your time, and come see us. I know Don mentioned something about maybe graduation. We're just kind of going to see maybe if we can serve you guys some food during graduation at Mutiny, but I'm not gonna commit to that just yet. So yeah, appreciate your time.
Woohoo!
John, you and I will talk offline. We'll figure something out.
Commit.
Please commit.
Yeah, it's like weather depending. It's pretty tough, if it's freezing cold out, it's a bit tough to pull that thing around with a Subaru. So
I think we can problem solve some other solutions if you're up for it. But anyway, we'll talk offline.
I've got a 4-wheel drive rodeo. I'll come pull it.
that's nice.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
great.
think Steve has a question.
I do. Great job, Sean. I'm actually a birria lover. That sounds weird, but I go around and taste birrias all over the place. So can you tell me a little bit about you just sell tacos, or there's additional products based on off of birria?
Just the birria taco. They're more quesadilla tacos. So
okay, well, I wanted just to give you more thoughts on product. I used to work in product development in a previous life, and now I'm the site activation manager and support this team. So you might want to expand your product development around birria because it's a very popular meat and style, especially with a Hispanic crowd. And one thing that's real easy to do is the birria soup, because you use it off of it's basically the stew that comes off of when you're cooking the meat. And so you might want to think of that.
Well, we have a consomme. That's what I cook the beef in. So we have that on the side for the tacos.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Well, I've gone to places where they sell it by the cup, and you just have minced onions on the side and oregano and stuff like that people like. And you'd be amazed how much money you'll get out of that just selling by the cup. And then also, what's the other stuff I've tried with birria? It's I think it's like a salad that they sell. But it has I'd have to find the recipe and give it to Don. But I tried it once, and it was based with elote, which is like the corn that they use in Mexico.
Sure.
And again, it was basically mincing up that awesome meat and that you must have, obviously, with your own recipe, and making a salad out of it. For people that want to have that. So just think about more products that are easy to make off of what you already have with your base product.
Thanks, Steve. Fantastic.
But great job. I'm going down for graduation, so I'll definitely try some.
Okay.
I had a question real quick too, actually. I'm really curious to know more about the additional cart. So what are the events that or, situations where you would primarily use that as opposed to the actual mobile unit or the food truck, I should say?
Yeah, that is a good question. I haven't thought completely the whole thing out, but I think just having something lighter to pull around, maybe even having, like I said, a little bit of different menu items that I could have almost like pre-made somethings that would just be hot held in the cart. So, something like that, that's maybe a little easier to do, like the baseball games down here, or just private events even, I think.
So Sean, before you invest in that, I think you should look at the regulations in town around the carts, because I know Jose, who was in our last cohort, he did a taco cart and there were a lot of problems with it. And it's much more even cumbersome than your truck is in terms of the legislation. So you and I can talk about that more if that's
Sure.
what you want to do.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
Jamie.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so sorry. This is Jamie with Skateland, and I just had a question for you, Sean. So you had mentioned that you have like a homemade cart or a wagon.
Mhm.
Did you already get that all? Like, has it all been approved by the city and stuff? And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I started working with the health inspector months before I started building it, and I sent her all my plans just to make sure that I wasn't going to run into any issues after I invested so much money into it. And so we were just in a constant conversation back and forth with pictures and emails, and so I had her up to date every step of the way. So
oh, that is awesome. That was my only worry, is that they would try to hit you with stuff you weren't prepared for. So that's great.
Sure.
Good
Yeah.
job.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right. Well, thank you guys for the feedback and the questions. And then, and Sean, great job. Jared, I think you're ready.
Yeah, I think so. Excuse me. So I am Jared and I run Jared Does Stuff LLC. It's a handyman service in Trinidad. Next slide, please. So for my launch strategy, and I mentioned this in our retro one, but because I'm starting out kind of small, I haven't fully launched yet. I've just done some small work here and there. So I'm really getting into the kind of nuts and bolts of getting a business going. So I have the LLC set up, but I still need to get the business license and then insurance, liability insurance for the business. And then the thing that I'm really working on to start is an accurate bidding and invoicing kind of system. I have created a few invoices, but I think that to, really do the best service that I can for customers and to have repeat customers, that, all those numbers need to be very clear. My invoice should be, should match the bid pretty closely. And so really focusing on kind of getting those dialed in. And then, a business bank account so that I'm keeping everything kind of separate. Next slide, please. So my my management here is going to be, the immediate term is really looking at the financials as I start doing more work, to accurately kind of track those, make sure that I know where I'm at and that I am on course to be profitable, and making sure that, the numbers tell the story of what I'm trying to do here, in terms of, this is something that I'm doing to kind of pay myself immediately as side work from my 40-hour a week job. So I need to make sure that, it is kind of worth my time. And as I grow, I think that the kind of the mid-tier goals would be to be able to bid and schedule jobs in advance so that I have consistent workflow, so that I have, kind of work secured for the future. So I know that, while I might have 1 month sort of buttoned up, that the next one isn't kind of a question mark for me. And so kind of going back to having accurate numbers and things like that, knowing how long jobs will take, how much they'll take, to, get repeat customers. And then my kind of, 6 months to a year goal would be, I'm going to evaluate, take a deep dive into the financials every quarter, to make sure that my business is on track to be profitable. And I would like this to be my full-time job. So that's kind of something that I'm shooting for in the future. And something that'll help me with that would be to move up from just a kind of a general handyman to an actual contractor, and obtaining a contractor's license. There's a couple of online classes I have found that I will planning on taking after this class, so that I can get that going for myself. Next slide, please. And so, my kind of my KSIs to start are fairly simple, because I'm starting pretty small. And so for marketing, I'm starting with just business cards. So I won't be doing a ton of tracking on, where I'm generating leads from, because it'll be really business cards and kind of word of mouth. So just the number of leads that I'm getting are going to be kind of one of the big marketing ones. If I find that business cards are just not successful in generating leads, then I'll need to, reevaluate the next step for maybe shifting gears there. And then for operational KSIs, kind of figuring out how many jobs am I doing per month, and then how many billable hours are they per month, looking at whether or not it's more beneficial to try and take on, a bigger job that may take, 2-3 weeks or something like that, or a lot of small jobs that just kind of stack up, or if it's maybe a combination of those, but trying to see what seems to be the most profitable there. And then, how far out do I have work scheduled? How much work have I secured will be a big one. And then again, going back to kind of those leads converted, I kind of estimated that, one lead converted would be an average of somewhere around 5 hours. And so if I'm converting 8 a month, that'll kind of get me my 40 hours a month that I'm currently looking to do. And then customer reviews. I will ask every person that I work for a review, for some feedback. And that's going to tell me a lot. I mean, if people are giving me good reviews, then I know that I'm on track and doing good work. For my financials, net profit is kind of the biggest overall one for me. Kind of like I mentioned, I am doing this to make, a profit to help offset some bills and mortgage and things like that. And then, so I've set my goal of, about $1,000 a month for my, excuse me, my kind of owner's take there. And then all of the money left over, being able to invest that back into the business. If I'm doing well enough that I'm able to stock away some money for, new tools, wear and tear on tools, things like that, that'll set me up for long-term success there. Next slide, please. So, I offer different services, but overall it's all kind of handyman service, is the general category it falls under, because everything I do is $30 an hour is my rate. So 40 hours a week or a month, excuse me, would get me that $1,200, and that would leave me, $200 over my goal that would go towards, some of the other stuff. So back into the business or other expenses. Next slide, please. So my average cost of goods is pretty low, because ultimately the customer ends up paying for most of the materials. So my COGS are mostly consumables that, I would potentially have from job to job. So like saw blades, as they wear out, I'll replace them, gloves, glasses, small things that I'll bring with me, glue, nails, caulking, stuff like that. But overall, $1.44 an hour is kind of my COGS there. And monthly, that would equate to $57.65. So then my fixed costs would be the insurance, and that's going to be, I'm still getting that set up, but it's going to be about $70 a month. Marketing would be 40, and I included marketing here, although I won't spend $40 every month. I will the first month, and periodically I will, as I have to replenish business cards, things like that. So I included it to start. And then licensing and certification. So like I said, I've set up my LLC and paid for that. I have to pay for the business license, and this $210 for the first year, that is taking into account the cost it would take me to get a contractor's license. And after that, once I have that first year, it goes down to $109.80. So my total monthly fixed costs would be $127.50 for year one. And then $990 for year two plus, or I'm sorry, that should be $99, not $990. I apologize. Next slide, please. So for my gross and net profit here, after my COGS, I'm looking at 1142. And then after my fixed costs, I'm still at 1,014. So I am over that, just a little bit over that $1,000 goal. And that is something that I realize is I'm not that far over, and there will be other costs associated. So there will be some adjustment that I'll have to make in my financials as I go along and find out, what I can actually achieve here. And so my monthly break-even point overall would be, 4.5 hours or 128.52 would get me even. Next slide, please. So my cash flow cycle is 10 days. I've made a few invoices already, and I date them 10 days out, and that's been working well thus far. So I'm sticking with that for now. It does give folks a little bit of time to get me paid, but not so much that I'm looking into, way into the future month or anything like that. And my strategy to have enough cash on hand is to use some of my grant or loan money, as well as personal investment, to have kind of a base. I plan on putting that in a business savings account, and hanging on to it for things that come up, incidental things, or investments that I need to make. And then for all my net profit, all of the money after, expenses my owners draw, that's going to go back into the business. And so, looking for some ways to generate a little bit more money will make immediate kind of impact on my savings. Next slide, please. And so my capital needs are, my launch costs, so licensing and all that, and marketing would be 150. Tools, there's some larger tools that I need, and those are nice because I can get them over time. And then insurance adds up to about $840 a year. So that's going to put me at $34.90. And then my funding would come from investments, personal investment, grants, and loans. Next slide, please. And that is my presentation. Thank you.
Woohoo! Nice job, Jared.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I have one question, Jared. Do you think that you can really just rely on business cards to market yourself?
I mean, overall, no, but to start, that's kind of where I'm starting, because kind of like I mentioned, I'm starting pretty small intentionally. And so I kind of want to see where that gets me, and kind of go from there and expand to what I think might help. When we talked about marketing in the past, there were some other things I came up with, but just to start, I'm going to stick with business cards.
I might encourage you to consider just a basic landing page, web page, and a Google, and a Google page, which is free, but just so that people can search you.
Oh, sure.
A ton of handymen in Trinidad are not searchable, and that will set you
Sure.
up.
And I had a question too, Jared. what, I don't know if, if you've thought about this in great detail. I'm sure it's kind of been on your mind since you're going to be taking the classes, but once you kind of transition from just a handyman to a general contractor, how will that change your the monthly, profit for the business? Is it going to be pretty significant? Is that still kind of up in the air? I'm just curious.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's still up in the air a little bit. I mean, it will, I'll likely charge a little bit more right off the bat because I'll have, some more certifications and all of that. But I kind of want to see what the market supports in Trinidad. I know looking at average handyman rates around kind of the country, a lot of them start at like $45, $50 an hour. So I'm pretty well under those rates already. But they seem to be kind of a little bit more in line with what Trinidad charges from the little bit I've been able to find from other handymen.
Nice. Thank you.
Matt, you have a question?
Yeah, just going to jump in here. I don't know the Trinidad market very well. I'm up in Denver, but I'm curious: is the service called Thumbtack, something like that? Is it the kind of thing that would be useful to get yourself onto? So again, homeowners, individuals can find you and request your services.
Sure. I actually talked to another handyman that moved here from Denver, and he told me that that's all he used to use and that he's had very little success with it here. So it's not something that I'm starting with. I keep going back to the kind of starting small, but it's just because I have limited time to do this and I want to make sure that I'm doing a really good job with the little bit that I do to start. So as I kind of expand, I do plan on trying some of these things, giving them a shake and seeing what, if they generate more leads for me, then great, I'll do them consistently. But to start, no.
Cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure how much those apps have kind of penetrated the market down there, and I know they take a cut as well, so that eats into your profit margins, but something to consider.
And then Jamie, you have a question?
Yes, hi. So I also just wanted to reinforce what Don had said. Like, I think it's a great idea to have a website or something as backup instead of just business cards. And then just something to throw out there. You did a great job. Another idea is when you give the the bids. I know that when I get bids, a lot of the handymen will ask for a certain amount up front, and then after the job's completed, the remainder. So that might be another option for you to help fund you. But good job.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
I just have a quick comment. As far as the web page and everything, do you use social media?
I use Instagram.
Okay, so you have somewhere that people can see like the jobs that you've done and.
I will, yeah. I'm still putting that together, getting like all the pictures of things I've done. But yeah, that is in my plans. It's just not, I'm not there quite yet.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, Jared, thank you so much. All right, Jen, are you ready for your post office?
I am. Are you? I own the post office at Trinchera, Colorado. My name's Jennifer McCowan, and what the post office is looking to be is a bunkhouse at this point. Next slide, please. Let's see. The four things that I need to do prior to the launch of my business is I have none of this. I need the business license, I need the tax license, the EIN, the bank account, and there was something else that I didn't think to put in there. I can't remember offhand what it was, but that's something I need to look for. Next slide, please. Let's see. Okay, my strategy for 1 to 3 months is to become proficient in Excel, because some of you have seen my inefficiency in Excel. So I think that that's important, because as much as I don't like these spreadsheets, I do need to know how to do them, and I need to do them right. So from 4 to 6 months, I'm looking at setting up a reservation system, and I'm probably just going to sub that out. Find something online that's a free kind of deal and go with that. In the 6 to 12 month time frame, I'm going to investigate campgrounds and conferences. That literally means campgrounds like Kenton, Oklahoma, Canyon City, campgrounds that are doing various different things. Don brought up to me that there's conferences available for Airbnbs, campgrounds, any type of business that would relate to what I'm doing. So I'm going to check into that and see what's available and see if I can't get myself to one. Next slide, please. Let's see.
Jen, I think you froze. Can she see? Just a second.
Yeah, I can't hear.
As far as
Oh. Oops, we lost her. Oh, here she comes.
stand by.
He
There
might,
you are. You're back?
What's that?
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, you saw the picture. I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we lost you. So if you want to start back over with your KSIs.
Did you not catch any of the KSI stuff?
Nope.
Oh, quit. Okay. All right. It happens. The indicators that I came up with to track and measure that my business is growing in the right way for the marketing is to monitor reservations per month. Cause I mean, that's a direct line of information. I either have reservations or I don't, or I have minimal reservations, obviously. So to monitor that would only be the smart thing to do. As far as operations, space preparation for guests, that's the actual basic doing of the job, the going into the post office, setting up the beds, changing sheets, cleaning, etc. For the financial, I'm going to look at retail sales versus reservation sales, because there's some potential for me to have quite a bit of money made in retail sales as well out here. Don and I were talking about a liquor license. I've got some other things that I'm thinking about. So that's my basic answer for this one. So next slide, please. Let's see. Okay, what I'm looking at is a bunkhouse bed, $50 per bed. I don't know how many I can fit in there. I'm guessing maybe 4. I'm looking at 20 sales per month. Doing $50 a bed, 20 sales a month will bring me to $2,000 a month forecasted. Next slide, please. Okay, the cost of goods sold. I'm looking at a unit, $50. Sales per month. Sorry, I'm losing myself in here. Sales per month, 20 again. Average monthly cost of goods forecast, 2,000. Did I do that right, or am I doing the wrong thing there? That strikes me as wrong. It strikes me as duplicating the one I just did, but I don't have a clear understanding of this yet, so we'll see. Immediate fixed costs. The liquor license has the potential to be $15.50, it looks like. Business license going to be about $30. And I'm looking at outhouse rentals. I have one outhouse out here that's old like you would imagine back in the West, pretty primitive. I'm looking at an ADA rental for $200 a month, and those would be the immediate costs. That would come to $296.
Jen, you froze on us again. Let's see. Are you
We're
there?
back. Where'd you lose me?
Right when we got to this slide.
Okay. The gross profit left over once the cost of goods are covered. The average monthly revenue is looking at $1,800. Average monthly cost of goods, $34.98. Average gross profit, that's $1,765. My monthly break-even point is $766. Next slide, please. Okay. The strategies include the length of the cash flow cycle. What I'm looking at is short as possible to work with the numbers in real time, mostly because that's the way I'm used to doing it. I don't know if there's a better strategy. There may be. I haven't come up with it yet. Strategy to ensure enough cash on hand to pay the bills. Buy just what I need rather than preparing for every possibility. And by that, I mean, if I need 2, I'm going to buy 12 because all these other things may happen. I'm kind of ridiculous like that. So I need to reel that in. Strategy for what to do with any net profits. There's a lot of things I could do. The one I know to do offhand is reinvest. Next slide, please. Major costs I've identified include the roof, $7,000, the laptop, $1,300, insurance, $100, the outhouse rental, $200. I already have the roof on the building. I already have the laptop. Total is $8,600. Funding sources will include personal investments, grants and loans, and potentially sponsorships. I don't know on what kind of level. It may be something as simple as Tarantula doing the bug spray again. I'm sure I'll come up with some different things that can be done there. Excuse me. Next slide, please. Oh, look, the end.
Woohoo!
Hey,
All right, Jen, good job. Do we have any questions? Oh, I think she froze again. Hello?
Are you
I,
there?
I have a question. Are you
there
there,
we
Jen?
are.
So is this like a hotel?
It's a post office. I bought part of a ghost town out here in the middle of nowhere. I own about a third of Trinchera, Colorado. And with it came an 1800s hotel saloon, which is standing barnwood. Don't think in terms of active. And then I got a post office that opened in the 1880s. And then I got a gas station, an old 1930s gas station. And so the post office is the first structure I'm going to use. I may have some campers. I don't know yet, kind of a glamping thing going on. And what was the other thing I had in mind? A campground. I don't remember where I was going with that. Lost my train of thought. Sorry. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so you have rooms set up in the you're gonna set up rooms in the post office to like rent for the night?
I'm going to set up beds in the post office so that the way that we're thinking about doing this now, because I initially had the thought to just rent the post office.
While she's frozen, she has a ghost town and there's a motorcycle trail that goes through there and a lot of bikers
With
go.
common interests, so it seems reasonable.
Oh, you froze again in the middle of that.
Oh, with it.
That's okay. I think I have a better understanding now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the internet is sketchy at best at this point. Sorry.
No, Jen, I'm curious too. What
Okay.
you were about to finish saying about. So you said you were going to do the beds in the post office, and then what was your next pivot?
What I was originally going to do was list whatever, market the post office as one unit for one group for one night. It was suggested to me to do a bunkhouse. I think I can probably fit maybe 4 queen beds in there, and then rent by the bed versus by the post office itself. And so, like, if I've got 3 guys coming in one group, 3 beds for them, and then maybe somebody gets a camper outside. So some different variations in
I think that's a great
overnight
idea.
lodging.
Great
Thank
idea.
you.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, any other questions? All right, Jen, thank you so much. And
I do one more question.
Sure.
What codes do you have out there? I mean, I'm so intrigued that you bought a ghost town.
Right
Do
on.
codes even cover that area or no?
The only one I'm familiar with so far has having put the roof on this building, because the post office gas station is one building. And it turned out that a complete roof is considered a repair. So you didn't need a permit.
Wow.
I'll play along. I don't know. There's a lot
Yeah.
of code stuff I'll have to check into, but as it appears now, based on what I know so far and other people's businesses out here, none of it really applies out here. It's literally Wild West.
Yeah, because I was thinking on the amount of beds and stuff and rooms you were talking about. I was just thinking how many bathrooms codes would require for you to have. So, because
Yeah,
that's
that
always
I
been an
don't.
issue when you do remodels and stuff, you find out quickly that you need more bathrooms.
Yeah, I'm sure the bathroom thing is going to be, I'm going to have to figure out exactly what I need.
Right.
'Cause like
But
I say, I
anyways,
have the
I'm
one.
so intrigued with your project.
Thank
Thank you.
It's interesting. Thanks.
All right, in the name of time, I think we'll move on. Thank you, Jen, so much. Jaylene, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so Jaylene, go ahead and get started.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jaylene, owner of Jay's Compassionate Care here in Trinidad, Colorado. I do in-home personal care for the elderly that have dementia. So my management launch strategy right now is just to establish my LLC, get the required business licenses and certifications and the business insurance that I need. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, Don. So my ongoing strategy, immediately, I believe that I need to get the certification and the licensing, and then the insurance within the 4 to 6, and my 6 to 12 months is credit building. That way I could buy my own place to provide for more than one client at a time and eventually get staff hired. Next slide. So right now, since I'm just starting small because I do not have the capability, it's just me to do more than one client a month. My marketing strategy is just to keep business cards stocked in locations that target consumers. Like I was thinking the senior center, the chiropractic office, things like that, and mostly word of mouth because word has spread a lot. As far as operations go, I plan to have monthly meetings to ensure that there's proper documentation and also feedback from clientele's family, and to just make sure that everything's running smoothly and that our values match. Financial would be budget planning, profit loss statements, and the business savings account. Next slide, please, Don. So I do caregiving, which includes of assisting with the ADLs, medication, reminding, meal prep, laundry, and housekeeping. My average sales is $22 to $33 an hour. I have one client, so my monthly income is $61.60 a month. Next slide, please, Don. So my cost of goods sold, like I said, it's the same basically because I only have the one client. So again, my forecast is $61.60 at the same hourly rate. My immediate fixed costs are going to be my QMAP certification, the liability insurance, and then my rent and utilities, which is a total monthly fixed cost of $2,000 a month. Next slide, please, Don. So my monthly revenue, $61.60. Again, I put the wrong number in here because that is also what my cost of goods sold is a month because it's the one client and I do my hourly rate. So my net forecast, I did the minus the 2,000, which is the 4160, which would be my net profit. So my monthly break even point basically is the same as my net profits, 4160, since I do not really have any other goods that I produce, as right now I'm small and the family provides all the material necessary here in their home. Next slide, please, Don. So my cash flow basically is just month to month. My strategy to ensure cash on hand to pay bills is just to do a business savings account instead of putting into a personal savings, and then do a draw to pay myself. The strategy is to continue to save for upgrades. Like I said, with my credit building, I eventually plan on buying a place that I could have more clients and hire employees to help. And that way I could provide all the supplies and then operations as necessary. Next slide, please, Don. So right now, my capital needs basically is the insurance, the licensures, certifications, and the rent and utilities again, which is 2,000. My funding sources will be the personal investment, the savings that I've already have from doing this, and grants and loans. Next slide, please, Don. And that is my presentation. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Thanks, Jaylene. Do we have any questions?
Hi, Jaylene, it's Jamie.
Hi.
Sorry, I was trying to fill out the form and came back. So you did a great job. Great job.
Thank you.
My only thing that I would suggest that you might want to account for is your taxes.
Yes,
and
I've
that's what you're
not
gonna-
done that.
Yeah, so you just definitely want to take that into consideration for sure. But you did a great job. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Jaylene, I would love to know
Yes.
when you get to the point of like, hiring additional people, what is going to be, I'm more curious about just like the pool of healthcare providers in Trinidad. And so how do you plan?
Yes, me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you
Yes.
thinking? How are you going to find these people?
I know. I'm hoping that I could, find. I do have actually some family members that are nurses, and I have, a friend that is a doctor. So I'm kind of gonna do some networking there, and maybe I could convince them eventually to
Yeah.
join the team. I mean, and so we'll see how that goes. But yes, I agree with you on that aspect. It's gonna be very difficult for me to do that, especially, finding the value and ethical, and so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Well,
to do a lot of networking for that.
I think you'll be able to do it for sure, even if it's a little bit more work. So you got it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's move on. Thank you, Jaylene.
Thank
Megan,
you.
are you ready?
Yes. Hi, I'm Megan. I own Mutiny Trinidad. We are a small batch coffee roaster, bookstore, comic book store, as well as an event and community gathering space. Next slide, please. So for the next, because I am already in business and have been in business for just over 2 years, but I've only owned this business for about 6 months. I am gonna do next stage of growth stuff. We have a manufacturing license and want to work on getting wholesale coffee accounts. Upgrade the health licensing to allow for us to prepare food on site so that we have more full rounded food options. Right now it's mostly sugar. I want to do more targeted marketing, specifically surrounding our tourism in the summer and specific events in town, and building a website is going to be a top priority. 1 to 3 months, I would really like to familiarize myself with QuickBooks and Square and use them to their fullest capabilities. I have both of them. I pay for both of them, and I don't use them nearly enough. And I don't know how to use them well enough either. Get wholesale accounts started or at least contracted. It might be difficult to get wholesale accounts right now in our area while we're going into our off season, but get them maybe under contract for next season. 4 to 6 months, I am hoping to be preparing food in-house, as well as having our roaster be able to roast full-time. That is going to be based on having wholesale accounts and just being busier in general at our store. And then on the back burner, I really want to focus on community events hosted at Mutiny. I want to have weekly reoccurring things, bi-weekly, monthly. I'd like to have a full calendar of events. Next slide. So the marketing key success indicators. The marketing that I mentioned is that I'd like to do more targeted ads. I get metrics from socials and Google for those. I have thought about doing a coupon in the local paper or in maybe a newsletter or something like that that people literally bring to the store. We've partnered with a few different organizations in town who have done coupons, and we've actually gotten a good return on that. So, and then I always think it's great to engage people while they're in your store and ask them how they heard about you, what brought them in that day. For operations, increased return business, continued good Google reviews, higher average sales per month, and higher weekly sales or monthly sales, and then higher ticket sales per transaction. I got the cameras blocking the other part of my screen, sorry. The higher average sale ticket, higher average weekly sales, wholesale account setup, and paid in full is how I plan to do my key success indicators for the financial aspect of it. And let's see. So I did kind of, oh no. Oh no, sorry, okay. I did 3 of our higher items, like the highest sales items that we do, and I've broken those down, and that's what those slashes are. So the medium flavored coffee average sale price is $6, small sweet roll $4, if that makes sense to everybody. So then the number of sales per month, I am pulling these numbers from our last month of full sales. So 257, 79.99 average monthly revenue forecast for those products, 1542, 316, and 346 at 50. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is where it gets a little weird because I kept that slide that way, but on this one, I am doing it broken down by categories because at Mutiny we sell so many different things that it was hard to just pull one thing and have it make sense for my overall sales. And again, I'm pulling these numbers directly from last month's sales. So the coffee as a whole, on average, I spend $1.57 on cup, sleeve, milk, coffee, what have you. The bakery items are roughly our cost are $3 each. Retail food, it's candy, mostly like I had mentioned. My average is 50 cents. 50 cents for tea bags individually and 150 for our various retail items. And then the number of sales per month, again, this is for September. So those numbers are from September. Coffee as a whole, we'd sold 1,536 different lattes or coffees or Americanos or what have you. So then my average monthly COGS, 241.11, 1014, 457, 313, 790 for a total of 49.85. My immediate fixed costs, I have a loan. I have a loan payback that is $700 a month. I have payroll, which does include paying myself. So that's already included in my monthly fixed costs. 550, 5,500. Taxes and insurance monthly, 1,200. Rent, 2,108. Utilities, 450 for a total of $9,958. Next slide. So I'm going to go through these numbers, and with the caveat that my average monthly COGS are higher than they would normally be, specifically for retail items, because I have been bulking up on those. So this hopefully we'll see better net profit on another month. So my average monthly revenue is 15,275. Average monthly COGS, 49.85, with the average gross profit being 10,290 minus my fixed costs, which were 9,000. I've forgotten the exact number, for a net profit of $332. So my break-even point is about $15,000 a month. Maybe a little less on months that I'm not bulking up on retail items. Next slide. So the general length of the cash flow is immediate, as it is at the register. Ways of, but we do direct to buyer online sales. And in the past, I have not collected the money until after we have already sent it to them. I feel like that's not the standard for buying things online, and that I need to collect the money prior to sending it out to the customer. And then the terms for our wholesale accounts, I would like to do cash or check on delivery instead of a 30-day kind of net. But again, those are kind of industry standards, so we'll have to see how that goes. And then I guess the upsell at the register kind of goes into the strategy to ensure I have enough cash on hand to pay bills, but that's also just a way to keep cash flow. To make sure that I have enough money to pay bills, cut COGS costs wherever I can, especially during the slow months. And one thing that I haven't really paid close enough attention to before is how generous my employees are with their clock in and clock out times. So something I'll be tracking. And then strategy for what to do with any net profits, save as much as possible for future endeavors, equipment maintenance, and pay raises. Next slide. The capital needs, rent is always there. New ice machine, a good one would be about $700. Loan payment is always there monthly. And then the website build out, I have already paid for the domain and the software that I'll be using. It was about $300 for 2 years. I'll be doing that with personal investment grants, loans, and I just went to the bank today to start looking into a business line of credit. Next slide, please. Okie doke.
Woohoo. All right, Megan, good job. Do we have any questions?
So I know I'm not like a coach or anything, but I just want to make a suggestion because I've noticed that a lot of people, I come in there at least once a week, and I notice that a lot of people while I'm in there are even asking about it. And if I seen it in there, I would totally buy you up. So breakfast burritos. Like, I don't know if you've ever thought about that or if, you know, like if that's kind of your thing or not, but I know that you would sell out super fast. Like,
yeah, so we have breakfast empanadas that our local bakery makes for us, that have potatoes, green chilies, onion, and cheese with or without bacon. And then the co-op next door to us, they make breakfast burritos with like the local meat and veggies. So it's just kind of, we don't need it in our store because you can literally go next door and get it, or you can get this other product that is very similar that is made by our baker. I've definitely thought about it though.
awesome.
I thought about all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
perfect.
Any other questions?
Yeah, do you have wholesale coffee accounts already?
No, we don't have any yet.
Okay.
And then Jamie, did you have a question?
Yes, sorry. So mine's not much of a question, but Megan, I've been noticing recently all your advertising that you've been doing on social media, and I just want to say great job.
Thank you.
All of your advertisements have sucked me in, and I know
Good.
they've sucked in a lot of my friends too. So great job.
Thank you.
All right, do we have, oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry, Donna. Just one quick final question. I know you're renting right now, Megan, but would you ever consider down the road like purchasing maybe a storefront? I know I wonder what's available in the downtown Trinidad. I know that there's been like a lot of work to try.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not opposed to it. I am pretty intimately tied into my current renting situation. Being that the owner of the building is somebody who gave me a personal loan to buy this business. So so I don't really have any plans within the next 5 years to move anywhere yet. Because that's the term of my loan. So
all right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Megan. Great job. And Kevin, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kevin, and I run Xeriscapes Trinidad LLC. Here in Trinidad, Colorado, it's a landscaping business that specializes in xeriscaping, which is pretty much landscaping, but with drought-tolerant plants. and save people water. Next slide. So some of the key tasks that I'm going to get done or take a closer look at. Pretty much just continue doing the landscaping jobs that I've already been doing. I'm already running. I got my licenses and my insurance. But yeah, I just got to take a little bit closer look to my profit percentages. I need to. I want to start marketing more towards lawn transformations because I think that's where I will be making the most money. Um, and I need to realize like some tools will need to be replaced eventually, so I gotta make sure I have money for that when those times come. Uh, and now I need to find how customers find me and invest more into that. Next slide. Um, so, so my objective for the year, uh, first, immediately I need to know how to budget and track my income, especially now that I have insurance, because I wasn't accounting that, when I was first starting my business. So that's something I have to take into account. Next, in the next 4 or 6 months, uh, start figuring out which service that I'm providing is bringing in more money, and which services are not bringing in that much money, and start focusing on, the ones that actually are making me money. Um, Installing plants or cutting lawns and lawn conversions. So something like that. Like I know cutting lawns isn't something I want to be doing, and it probably won't be making me the most money anyway. But we'll see. And then after that, the back burner right now is uh, taking putting into account how much it costs when I have employees work for me. So I gotta start making sure I have enough money to pay that. Next slide. So my KSIs that I will have to track and measure um, is figure out whether to wholesale plants or if I should build a greenhouse. It's definitely something I've thought about. Let's see, check the gross and net profit percentages to see what I need to charge to make sure cover the cost, labor, bills, insurance, and make a profit because that's what I need. Since I'm pretty much putting all in into this business. Um, so I need to check the QR code analytics to see what people are clicking and engaging on my website. I know with that too, you can see the demographics, the different people, younger or older, that are interested in my service. Check which service is making more profit and decide whether. I know this is something small but very important, but I need to see if I probably will do this is load the truck the day before the job so I can make sure I have all my tools for what I need to do and not waste time going back because I forgot something. Next slide. So yes, I have lawn conversion. I'm installing plants, maintenance and cleanup, and cutting grass. These are all things I've done already. Right now, I'm just going to focus on the price of a lawn conversion, which averages about 3,000 to 4,000 per 1,000 square foot of a yard. So I put 3,500. Um, I can probably do 2 lawn conversions a month. So this is even accounting into like all the other stuff that I do in between the time. So yeah, just focusing on the lawn conversion, I probably make 7,000 a month. Next slide. And then this is where the so I'm not taking all that 7,000 in profit. There's going to be 1,000 7. So this is per 1,000 square foot. So out of the 3,500, there's going to be 1,700 that goes into the cost of materials like the rock, mulch, fabric, the labor. Okay. Yeah, the left side has it for 3,500. The right side is more. No, yeah, that's right. Okay. So yeah, per 1,000 square foot. So that's out of 3,500. I'd be spending about 2,450, and part of that is going to be going towards me because I'll be working. So next slide. So like I said, 7,000 per month, and that'll be 2,450 for the cost of goods, and then so the monthly net profit, if I did do 1,000 square foot yards, it'd be 4,550. Profit, yeah, okay. Oh, and yeah, I didn't do that part right, but yeah, the break even would be more like one. I have to at least do 1,000 square foot yard. The next slide, please. So a couple of things I got to do now is just figure out the time it takes for me to do the job, and then so what it is, sometimes usually a customer will pay me up front for the materials, and then when the job's done, I'll get the rest of the what is owed, and just figuring out how much time it takes to finish the job by myself or with somebody to help me. Next would just to be after paying myself, seeing what I have left to invest back into the business, and for the future or with your profit, the rest of the profit is just to reinvest it back into the business and make sure we have everything for new tools and new yeah uh truck maintenance and yeah anything that just might come up. Next slide. So my capital needs for now, I could order some more business cards because I don't have any with QR codes yet. uh, if I did decide to build a greenhouse, it'd probably be around $2,000. Marketing on Google would be something I'm looking into. I saw it was $100, depending on how many clicks you get, and there's different tiers too. That this was the lowest tier, so I decided that would be easy enough to start with. Employment too. I know I heard there was some aid or uh, some sort of help to help get started to be able to sustain employees and pay for the insurance and all that. So yeah, just I've been funding this personally. Uh, I you know I've there's I've looked into loans, credit cards, and then the RMFI loan that may come later during this class. So yeah, just reinvesting when I make profit too. Next slide. Yeah, please. And that's it. I'm Kevin Castro. I run Zerscape Trinidad, and that's my presentation. Thanks for being here.
Woohoo!
All right, great job, Kevin. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question for Kevin.
Go ahead.
What are your products for the winter season? Maybe I lost that part, but it's around the corner. So what do you plan to do during the next 5, 6 months?
I'm glad you brought that up because I did forget to mention that. Um, I I will be shoveling snow, and we're supposed to get a good season this year. But even when there's not a good season of snow, I do plan on just doing some maintenance because as long as it's above ground, I can do stuff like prune trees or deadhead plants. Make sure the plants that go to seed don't spread their seed everywhere, and you have a bunch of plants congesting each other. Um, I think there's a lot of maintenance jobs that could go on in the slower season. I could save all that for winter instead of doing it all in the summer. But no, I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to bring that up in a.
Great, thank you.
I have a quick question, Kevin.
Sure.
Yep. So great job, by the way. I just wanted to make a couple points. For somebody who used to run HVAC, and tools are very sacred. And so I would not recommend pre-packing your vehicle the night before, just for, security wise. That would be my first inputs. And then the next one would be, as far as your greenhouse goes, that will probably, if you think about it, is going to increase your cost a little bit further. Something to think about, because you have a greenhouse, now you have to propagate your plants, maintain them, get pots, soil, etc. So the greenhouse maybe later once you're scaling up, possibly. So just wanted to throw those inputs up for you. But great job, brother.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, something to think about. For sure. Yeah, the winterizing sprinkler systems too. Yeah, I didn't think about that actually. I know I know a guy who does that specifically. Uh, but he's busy and it's hard to get a hold of him. So that they Trinidad might need someone else to do that too. So
Yeah, that means nobody else can
definitely
get a hold of him either.
right. Yeah. So he's busy. Then
I've done
there's
it.
a
It's
market for
easy
it.
work and good money and absolutely necessary here.
Yeah. I'll get in touch with him too. He's another landscaper. So but
Right on.
he did sprinkler systems specifically. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, you guys, we're gonna skip. I'm gonna have Xander go next because he's got some kids he's got to run home over to Raton. So Xander, are you ready?
Puppy dog. Oh, shit.
Xander, are you ready? Oh, well, maybe he already left us. Okay, sorry. Oops, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry, I can't, I'm having some issues here. All right, since Xander's not responding, go ahead. Jen, you're next.
Hey guys, my name is Jennifer Ard, and I am the sole owner of Sids in the Bucket Cleaning Services LLC, located in Trinidad, Colorado. I've been in business since July, and prior to this, I was a partnered owner in a previous cleaning company. And happy to help anyone I can here in Trinidad. Next slide, please. Okay, so my launch strategy is to continue to seek out more clients to help with Airbnb deflation by focusing more on residential cleans. I'll get more into it, but by the first of the year, I would like to be primarily focused on commercial cleans. Right now, I'm kind of Airbnb focused because that is what was available to me at the time, and now I seem to have fallen in love with it. So I'm just doing it. But because of the winter, Airbnbs just seem to really die down. And so it's important to me to make sure that my income is still staying steady throughout the time that Airbnbs are not. I am now also a Chamber of Commerce. I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and so I would like to attend and get into contact with Pat Howlett, is that right? To discuss how I can become more active in that area and recruit local businesses that way. To make sure I have a well maintained and functional vehicle for the winter. Right now, I'm driving a tiny little 2-wheel drive, and it is not going to get me through the snow and terrain of where I live. So, I actually just invested into another vehicle that has 4-wheel drive, so hopefully that works out. Organize a storage unit. So where I live, it's really difficult for me to store anything anywhere except the back of my vehicle, and that is not going to work. So it is a very important task for me to get a storage unit that is temperature controlled, so that I don't destroy all my cleaning products and supplies by them freezing. Next slide, please. Ongoing. Oh, next slide.
Did it work?
No. Okay, there we go. Wait. Yes, that's it. Okay, so my ongoing strategy are to hire an accounting agent to help me with my taxes. I'm not really good at the whole tax thing, so I want somebody to get in and messy with me and help me understand it so that in the future, hopefully I can do my own taxes and won't need to spend that extra income on a accounting agent. 4 to 6 months projection is I would love to have at least 4 to 6 by that time commercial based contracts that are on a steady basis and have at least a monthly gross profit of 10,000 or more. 6 to 12 months, own 2 to 3 company vehicles. It is just about the wear and tear right now on my personal vehicles. And so I would love to get kind of find a sponsor type of thing and put my logo all over the vehicle and have company trucks that will be designated strictly and only for the company. Therefore, I could try to expand my growth further into like Huerfano County, Raton, possibly even Pueblo. Next slide, please. My key success indicators are my marketing would be to make business cards and leave them everywhere that will allow me to. I've noticed that business cards have worked in the past, and so I really want to push those out again. Create promotional flyers for new client-based contracts. So I have some ideas that I'm working with that I'm really excited about, especially with the holidays rolling around, that I'm hoping to do like a refer a friend program. So that will be there, as well as also I want to do like 30% off every month or the month of November, and a different promotional deal for December for Christmas month. I am in the process of getting a website set up through WordPress, and I'm super excited about it. I'm learning about everything that it has to offer, and I think that that's going to really be great for my operations cycle. My financial key success indicator is QuickBooks, and again, just to hire an accountant to help me with taxes. I've thought about taxes, but as far as my knowledge with taxes is none. So I want to make sure that I'm doing everything the way I'm supposed to be doing them without any hiccups, if possible. Next page, please. So my average revenue per unit, I kind of projected this, some of this into the long term, like as far as 3 months out, starting in January. But right now, between a 2,000 and 3,000 square foot home on a bi-weekly basis, I am charging $250 on average. I would like to get 20 private homes. That way I have 10 per week that I am doing, and that is 40 per month. And if I do that, if 10 homes weekly at $250 each equals out to be $10,000 in monthly revenue. That is my goal before January, is to hit 10,000 monthly revenue. Right now I'm about $5,500. Next page. So, average cost of goods. I think I did this one wrong, guys. I'm sorry. But the average cost that I get paid per unit is $250. The sales per month would be 40. Therefore, hopefully my average income will be 10,000 a month. Right now, my fixed costs are at $925 per month. That's covering gas, clean supplies, car insurance, business insurance, a storage unit, and a laundry bill that I am paying for my Airbnbs, which that will change once I stop doing Airbnbs. Next page, please. Okay, so average monthly revenue right now is $5,327.50. My monthly cost of goods is $925. Therefore, it's leaving me with a profit of $4,402.50. Right now, that is my forecast, unless I decide to change things up. My monthly break-even point, I didn't really know what that was asking, so now I'll kind of break it down a little more. The monthly break-even point is actually roughly between 3.5 and 4 homes every month that would help me break even on my cost of goods. Next, or on my, cost of goods, sorry. Next page, please. And cash flow assumptions. So I always put back 30% and do not touch that at all, unless emergency circumstances absolutely call for it. But I put 30% back into my business just to cover cost of goods and tax purposes. And that comes out of every single job we do. I want to use a budget and set monthly cost on supplies. So I would like to set it up where I'm doing strictly online ordering. Right now, I'm having to drive a lot to Pueblo to get the supplies I'm needing, and it's really just a pain. Between the fuel cost and between the cost of supplies in retail stores, I don't feel like it's worth it at this point, to do it that way. So I would like to find a way that I could just pay online, have the same order once per month, and have it come in at the same time. And to save as much as possible for future endeavors. There's a lot of times I don't pay myself. I just put it back into the company. And the reason I do that is because I have had a lot of instances where the unexpected expenses show up, and I need to always have a way to cover that. So next page, please. So the capital needs right now in fuel, I'm spending roughly $40 a week in fuel. So I've averaged that out to be $160, $200 monthly in supplies, $50 a month in marketing, and that is covering promotional flyers, that's covering business cards, and that's also covering my website. And then insurance between the company insurance and my vehicle insurance, it's $265 a month. And right now, my personal investment and business revenue is my primary funding sources. And along with my grants and the loan I'm hoping to receive will really help me get to where I'm wanting to be. Next page, please. All right, that's it.
All right, do we have any questions for Jen?
I don't really have a question, Jen. I was just gonna say, have you looked into doing something like an Amazon business account where you could just have recurring orders delivered to your house? And most Amazon stuff is free shipping if you're signed up for them, and that would save you time and money from going to Pueblo. And I know for me personally, I hate to use Amazon just because of their business, just because of the company they are, but it's so convenient in Trinidad, like coming from Denver and not being able to find certain things. I find that even within 2 or 3 days, the delivery is almost faster than it was in Denver for me. I don't know if anyone else experiences the same thing, but that could just be something to think about.
I have tried it, and thank you so much for your suggestion. I appreciate it. But yes, I did. Actually, quite recently, I tried it. I set up a business account, and I was ordering my supplies through them. But a lot of the things that I'm needing that I can't get locally, like things such as like floor wax and liquefied items, more or less. And I've had 3 instances where they have sent me an email saying that your item could not be delivered, and they have refunded my money to me. And I'm still trying to get to the bottom and figure out why. I mean, if it's perishable, then you would think that they could just put it in a box like normal people. But sorry, but no, they don't. So I'm really like, I thought about it, and I've tried it, and I'm just kind of trying to get past that one hurdle right now of why can't you deliver what I need to me? So
Jen, I had that same problem with Amazon. I was trying to order some high potency vinegar to kill some weeds. And I think because if they're flammable or there's certain things, there's some other problems with it. But there is a janitor supply store here. Have you tried them?
I have, and their prices are outrageous. I have tried them. I actually went in there the other day on a deep clean. I went to just get a extension pole so that I could reach the like the fan blades up top, and they wanted to charge me $87 just for the extension pole that went 8 feet up. And I was like, oh no, 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 no. So I'm not biased against them, but I'm like, I ain't got the kind of money that they need. So I'm in the process of kind of switching to eBay. I'm hoping that eBay might be able to help me a little more. And if not eBay, I really just, I'm also getting magazines. And so like I'm finding a magazine actually now that will give me the option to order anything and everything I need. And so I'm hoping to try them out starting next month.
All right, any other questions?
I also sent you a message about using coolers when I used to do what you do. Coolers in the car. Sometimes when they're too hot, it can render ingredients ineffective, things like that. But they'll keep things from freezing and boiling.
That's a great thought. I appreciate it. I will try it for sure.
Also contains spills.
Yes, which I need. But thank you. I will definitely try that.
Restaurant supply places also will deliver cleaning supplies, but you might have to check their case minimums. But maybe you team up with Megan and do an order and order some that way. All right, I think you're the last person tonight. And then let's see. Oops, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. All right, so your virtual feedback forms, they're filled out, and then I will get those back to you with them. We're not going to do breakout rooms tonight because we've had some really good questions after each entrepreneur, and I think that's some nice feedback. And then so this isn't applying. So that's it for tonight. Any other questions? Sorry, I'll go on Cameron.